The Los Angeles Lakers are riding a 6-game win streak and are surging to the second seed in the Western Conference standings as Luka Doncic is getting better and better each game with his new team. I'm here to break down the Lakers' recent surge, as it's been very impressive, especially in recent weeks, with not only with the Lakers having a harder schedule, but also just seeing the vast improvements with not just Doncic, but as an entire team overall. Starting off with Luka Doncic, obviously since the trade, it's been a very interesting month in February. He started off the month as a Dallas Maverick, recovering from the calf injury, but then after recently buying a house, his GM Nico Harrison sends him packing to Los Angeles to become a LA Laker, and his life is flipped upside down. We cover that trade. I'll link that reaction in the description. It just took a little bit of time for Doncic to really get into the groove, absorbing the news that he received in the waking hours on a Saturday night into a Sunday morning 3 weeks ago, and also recovering from this injury. Like I said, a calf injury is nothing to really overlook because we've seen it derail many players and even lead to more serious injuries. But as he's slowly getting into the groove, not only is he trusting his body, but he's also trusting his Lakers teammates. He had his best performance a couple weekends ago against the Denver Nuggets, putting up over 32 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists, and that was by far his most efficient night as a Laker. Just later that week, Doncic faces his former team, the Dallas Mavericks, as his former GM Nico Harrison demanded send him packing from Dallas in the early morning hours on a Sunday morning to the Los Angeles Lakers for the first time. Every time Luka made a basket, he looked over and stared at the bench. Definitely had a lot of tension, not really directed at maybe the Mavs players, as he's still quite friendly with several members, including his former backcourt mate in Kyrie Irving. It's definitely directed at the Mavs organization. It rattled him early on. I think just being such a life-changing move, like I said, in the middle of the night, was something that not many people could really get acclimated to in such a quick amount of time. But in this matchup against the Dallas Mavericks, he started off hot, was aggressive, really getting into the paint, was finally showing signs of the old Luka Doncic that we used to see back in Dallas. While the efficiency hasn't been the greatest, especially in that matchup against Dallas, he still put up a triple-double. LeBron did his thing. He closed out the game, and the Lakers won that matchup last week. They pick up a win against the Minnesota Timberwolves and then face Luka's nemesis in the LA Clippers for 2 matchups against their crosstown rivals in 3 days. And in both matchups, Luka Doncic put on a string of productive games where he combined over 2-game span of 60 points. And I thought this was definitely his best stretch as a Laker. I'm seeing not only just the aggression, but also just the jump shot be more fluid. There's a lot of confidence with it. He's getting into the paint. And one thing that we're seeing consistently throughout this run with the Lakers is that he's getting to the line. I know that the shooting splits isn't the greatest. It's 39, 27, and 75. Definitely way off Luka's high standards that we've seen in the past. But there's definitely effort there, not only just offensively, even defensively, something which I'll get into a little bit later. But I'm definitely seeing an impact with Luka Doncic's play. It's only a matter of time when the efficiency starts to get better. But if you just look at him being aggressive offensively, he's setting up guys all over the court, whether it's Austin Reeves or Jackson Hayes, who's feasting for dunks left and right as a lob threat. And even LeBron James, as the two have been really being his turn, my turn, but it just works so fluidly. I'm seeing LeBron being somewhat rejuvenated, especially in this recent stretch with Luka in the lineup, where he's getting clean looks at the rim for dunks and just getting wide open 3-pointers. But to discuss this entire team's impact, the ironic aspect of this recent surge is the defense has been phenomenal. Since the trade in early February, the Lakers are now the second best rated defense in the entire NBA. A team as a whole being so good defensively. You think with losing one of the best defensive anchors in Anthony Davis that the defense would drop off. We know that Luka Doncic is definitely a target amongst many opposing teams, as he's been dubbed the traffic cone. He's not really adept at the defensive end, but still, I'm seeing him get into passing lanes for deflections. He's averaging almost a block a game. It really just comes down to effort. I mean, I think what we're seeing is also a rejuvenated LeBron James. Ever since LeBron has turned 40, he has channeled back his Miami Heat days, especially in 2013 when he went on a dominant run as part of the Heatles 27-game win streak en route to back-to-back titles. And for LeBron, what more can we say? I mean, this is yet another thing that he's doing at age 40 at this point. He's yet again found a fountain of youth, and in this recent run, especially in February, I mean, he's averaging 29 points a game, 10 rebounds on 55.5% shooting, and over 44% from deep. I mean, that is uncanny for somebody at age 40, but also just doing this for so long. But yet again, LeBron is surprising us yet again. We're seeing great efforts on the defensive side, especially with the chase down blocks. It's re-energized LeBron at this point. Just Luka's impact, it's really changed what we think the Lakers could do. Before, with Anthony Davis, they were pretty good. A top 4 is something we haven't seen this Lakers team do, with the exception of the bubble year. They've been a play-in team with Anthony Davis and LeBron James, but with Luka now, they've surged up to the 2nd spot in the Western Conference. It's very tight and log-jammed. But the funny thing is, with this recent surge, is they still sit over 10 games behind the OKC Thunder, who I really do want to cover on this channel at some point. I just have such a dominant run in the last couple of years, but this year especially just seems that they're just primed for the title. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is having a phenomenal year, should win MVP if everything goes to plan, especially in the final 6 weeks of the season. But I think that OKC having this large a gap is definitely interesting to see, and we'll see what happens in the postseason. But right now, it's them and the rest of the West, but who knows who could join them in the Western Conference Finals. I think it'd be the Lakers' best interest to avoid them until a potential Western Conference Finals trip. But getting back to the Lakers, it's not just LeBron and Luka who are getting involved in this. Austin Reeves, since the trade, has picked it up as well, and obviously he's benefiting from wide open looks that Luka is setting up for him. It's also just him being aggressive, just like the rest of the LA squad, but him taking that extra step. He's sometimes the second best offensive player, because we know that Luka's still integrating himself as he's coming off of a calf injury, but Austin Reeves has really turned it up a notch in this year for the Los Angeles Lakers. If you look at the entire team, it's not just Reeves, it's not just LeBron, it's not just Luka. I'm seeing Rui Hachimura be benefiting from this recent addition of Luka Doncic, but even before Luka got here, Rui has had a really good year, especially as a spot-up catch-and-shoot kind of guy. Dorian Finney-Smith, who was another mid-season acquisition from the Brooklyn Nets, as he's been another good wing defender, something that the perimeter defense has improved so much, and I think Dorian Finney-Smith has had a massive impact and factor into that revamping of the defensive side. But as long as he's knocking down the open shots, I mean, that's really all you can ask from a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith. And finally, I think Dalton Connect, the guy that was actually casted off by the Lakers front office, and yeah, he could have pouted, he could have just said, I'm not reporting, whatever have you, but he's been able to bury the hatchet and actually has been really productive since that failed trade when he was originally traded to the Charlotte Hornets for Mark Williams. So far, these changes in the Lakers have already proved big dividends. Like I said, they've surged up the Western Conference standings. They have now this ceiling of being kind of a Western Conference Finals contender at this point. I still need to see a lot more as they have a big week coming up with teams like the New York Knicks and Boston Celtics as they head over to Boston. But this could be something where we're seeing the Lakers take a few strides forward as they're still figuring this out on the fly. But again, credit to JJ Redick for handling all this. I think he did a really good job during the All-Star break to really reset, recalibrate, and really figure out where to put his guys in situations for success. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment on what you think the Lakers' ceiling is for this year. Could they make it all the way up to the Western Conference Finals? And do they stand a chance against the OKC Thunder if they were to beat them in such a matchup?